So we went over how to create groove templates from MIDI, and now we're going to try and create groove templates from audio. So let's say that you had When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin, and you got just the beginning of it where John Bonham's playing his awesome drums, right? And you want that kind of a feel for your quantize. You could actually clip it out, create a MIDI file out of it, analyze the MIDI file, and make a groove template out of it. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. This is a lot of information to try and process. I'm really condensing it down. So if you have any problems, just go ahead and leave a comment.
Okay, so I showed you how to make a groove template from MIDI. Well, you can also do it from audio. In this case, I have this 9 Inch Nails drum loop. I'm going to double click. It brings it up in the sample editor. The sample editor has this factory pull down, and I go to audio to MIDI groove template. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to analyze, it's analyzing the beat that I have there. It's saying what is the quantize based on. I say 16th notes. Okay, that's cool. And then I'm going to change my velocity threshold until I see more notes appear. See, up here we have the audio, where it's picking out the audio transients. We have the quantize, which is 16th notes, and then we have the result, which is going to be the groove template. So I have to pull this velocity threshold down pretty far until more notes are being caught within that drum loop. The drum loop is very dynamic. So I'm going to keep pulling down a little bit. A little more. A little more. Wow, I have to get really sensitive with it. Turn the granulation down. Granulation means it's going to look at the transient, and then the lower you turn the granulation, the more it'll cut up a sound into components. Whereas if the granulation is really long, then that means that each grain or each place where it's going to put the note, it'll actually put several notes instead of just one. Because if something goes up and down if it goes up and down in amplitude a lot in a very short period of time, like if I go like that, it might get each time that I'm loud and each time that I'm soft, it won't pass over each time that I'm soft. It'll get everything. So it'd be like, instead of going being one note, it would be da 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 da. So anyway, that's what the granulation is about. The longer the grain is, the less it's going to do that kind of choppy, choppy MIDI note type thing. So as I look at it, here is each transient is pretty much being caught up, and I can see it lining up to the quantized grid, and I can see what the result is going to be below. And I can say try, or I can say use. In this case, I'll just say use. And you'll see that there's a MIDI region like sitting behind this audio file, and that's actually a MIDI file. This MIDI file is basically how it broke down the 9 Inch Nails drum loop. If I was a little slicker, what I would have done, I'll do it right now. Okay, I'm going to double click here. Factory, audio to MIDI groove template. My settings should be saved from what I just did, and they are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the 70s kit track, and I'll say use. Okay, that way it places the MIDI file on a MIDI track, which I think is cooler. So click here. If I unmute it and take a look at it, see that? There's all the MIDI notes, right? And we can see that they're not exactly on the grid. They're a little bit shifted around, so it's going to follow the groove of the 9 Inch Nails template. So if I look in my quantize list as well, down at the bottom, well, that's actually not what it is. It's actually right here. Audio 1 drums is the name of the region, so that's what it's going to call the groove template. The reason there's another one is I tried to do this lesson earlier and babbled all over the place, so I'm trying to make it a little more succinct. Now, the other thing I'd like to try and fit into this lesson is right there it took them all and it put them on C3. It took all of the MIDI notes and it put it on C3, right? Well, besides doing audio to groove template, okay, besides taking our audio file and turning it into groove template, Logic can also take a simple monophonic signal and try and figure out its pitch. So I'm going to try my best to sing on pitch and get Logic to create a MIDI score out of it. La, 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 la. Oh, yeah. Probably won't get the oh, yeah at the end, but, you know, I just had to be cheesy. Okay, so I'm going to get something a little more melodic down here to play that. EVP88 should be cool. Go back to my laws. Okay, great. I'm going to normalize it just so I get a lot of volume out of it. It's practically normalized anyway. Factory, audio to score. So now what it's trying to do is it's going to try and read pitch. So I'm going to mess around with this again, mess around with my velocity threshold. So it's going to have to be loud for Logic to even catch it. So as you see, because I didn't sing that many notes, I'm singing la, 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 right? And so I need these to reflect this. Now what I can do is I can actually click on these little lines to tell it I don't want them. I do not want you. I do not want you either. And I do not want you. Yes. There. They turn into little dotted lines. If you lose your selection, you can always go to Edit and then say Region of Selection, and it'll pop back up again. Okay, so now I'm going to hit Process, and you see that it actually created a MIDI score that's roughly based on what I sang. That's not exactly on pitch because I probably wasn't on pitch, but I can just lengthen these notes out. So Logic will try and guess the pitches and place them in a score format. So the difference between creating groove templates out of audio and creating audio scores out of, or MIDI scores out of Logic, is that MIDI scores out of audio, is that Logic will try and guess the pitch to make the score, whereas when it's doing the groove quantize, it's just trying to get the syncopation. It's just trying to get the rhythm of it. So there you go.
So there you go, that's how it's done. Now another thing about groove templates is it is going to try and guess the amplitude of the audio is going to equal velocity in MIDI terms. So when you see the different colored notes in the piano roll editor, it's actually taking the amplitude and converting it to velocity, which I think is pretty rad. So there you go, pretty cool. Today, first for today is that's a skylight, and there's still sun coming through it, which is exciting to me. A couple things I haven't forgotten about some of the other lessons that I have promised y'all I would go over. So one of them being the ES2 patch, the drum and bass ES2 patch. I'm actually working on that right now, and I'm trying to figure out a way to create that without boggling everybody's mind with sound synthesis, because I want to keep it instrument related, logic related, not synthesis related, or else I'll just end up going on a complete tangent. So we're going to start from a default patch, and then we're going to take it to the place that we need to take it. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great new year so far. Look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye-bye.